Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to 168 Hours, your weekly roundup of the top local stories. I'm Idham Naim, your host for the evening. Stay tuned. The Bank of Maldives proposes a comprehensive equity restructuring that financial regulators contend will serve as a critical catalyst for the nation's developing capital market.
The initiative, involving a coordinated bonus share issuance and a subsequent 10-for-1 stock split, seeks to address a persistent lack of liquidity by recalibrating the nominal value of shares to lower barriers for retail investors. Mohammad Hussein Manik, the chief executive of the Capital Market Development Authority, characterized the proposal as a mechanical adjustment essential to unlocking the bank's growth potential. Speaking on a PSM News' program Rajya Miyadu, Manik observed that the current share price has effectively discouraged participation. The restructuring is designed to correct a structural imbalance defined by robust buyer demand and a scarcity of sellers, according to Mohammad Aushan Latif, the managing director of the Maldives Stock Exchange. Aushan noted that the reduction in face value will make equity significantly more accessible, incentivizing current shareholders to trade. Under the framework awaiting formal approval, the bank will first issue 2 bonus shares for every unit held on 18 March 2026. A subsequent 10-for-1 split will then divide each share into fractional units, reducing the nominal face value from $3.24 to $0.32. While the share count will rise from 100 to 3,000 units, the bank confirmed the aggregate value of underlying equity will remain unaltered.
President Dr. Muhammad Muiz outlines a strategic mandate for the nation's law enforcement, stating that a principal objective of his administration is to ensure the police institution serves as a foundational environment for producing highly valuable public servants.
In a formal statement published on social media to commemorate the anniversary of the Maldives Police Service, the President articulated priorities intended to transform the force into a primary incubator for national service. The President honored the active officers of the service, declaring the anniversary a day to recognize the Blue Army that works tirelessly day and night in steadfast service to the nation. He further extended his profound gratitude and congratulations to the families of those in uniform, as well as to every individual officer who has honorably discharged their official duties since the formal inception of the policing service. A paramount goal for the institution, the President stated, is for the police to perpetually operate as an organization that cultivates resilient youth and essential public servants. The government expects the police force to remain a highly capable and accountable entity, he underscored, mandated with guaranteeing enduring peace and trust for every citizen and foreign visitor who experiences the inherent beauty and tranquility of the Maldives. The historic foundation of the service dates back to 1932, when it was initially established under the Fuluhumiha legislation enacted alongside the nation's first constitution. However, the most profound institutional transformation was realized through the subsequent passage of the Maldives Police Service Act. This pivotal piece of legislation, the record shows, ultimately secured complete operational independence for the administration and management of the police institution.
First Lady Sajda Mohammed inaugurates a suite of medical upgrades at Kuldufushi Regional Hospital, marking a pivotal milestone in the government's strategic initiative to elevate the facility to a tertiary-level institution.
The development spanning emergency medicine, renal care, and pandemic preparedness represents a concentrated effort to decentralize specialized medical services and fortify the healthcare architecture of the northern atolls. The First Lady opened a modernized emergency room featuring 6 beds, a dedicated procedure room, and a staff lounge. Historically, emergency care was administered within an internal ward, creating logistical bottlenecks. The new configuration allows ambulances direct access to the unit, expediting treatment for critical patients. This enhancement is vital for a facility that treated 1,679 individuals in the first quarter of this year, following 6,590 patients in the previous year. A 13,500 square foot emergency facility is also planned, with construction slated to commence shortly. The expansion further includes a 9-bed dialysis center equipped for intensive care, including an isolation bed and ICU integration. To alleviate the logistical burdens on patients, the government has introduced peritoneal dialysis, a method facilitating self-administration. The clinical advancement aligns with a national program that has extended dialysis capabilities to 10 islands over the past 2 years. The proceedings concluded with the groundbreaking of an isolation facility financed by the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. Formalized through a 14 February agreement with Altec Maldives Private Limited, the multipurpose structure will function as a convertible quarantine facility and an 800-capacity auditorium serving as a dual-purpose asset for national health preparedness.
In a move aimed at revitalizing the tourism sector amid regional instability, Minister of Tourism and Environment Tariq Ibrahim announces that tourists will be able to extend their visas through a much simplified process starting 1st April.
Speaking at the weekly press conference convened by the National Ministerial Committee tasked with mitigating the impact of the ongoing conflict in the Middle East, Minister Tariq outlined new measures designed to enhance visitor convenience and support the recovery of the Maldivian tourism industry. Currently, tourist visas are granted for a 30-day period, but under the new system, travelers will be able to extend their stay through a streamlined online process requiring minimal documentation. The announcement comes as visitor numbers face a relative decline, with Minister Tariq noting that 30% of tourists arrive via Middle Eastern airlines, routes significantly affected by the current geopolitical situation. The government is also advancing plans to introduce specialized visas for digital nomads and content creators, initiatives expected to benefit local guest houses and diversify tourism offerings.
President Dr. Mohammad Moise announces that the government is finalizing plans to develop Kardeddu Airport to international standards, with practical work on the highly anticipated project slated to commence by the middle of this year.
The president, addressing the weekly news conference, confirmed that while planning for the major infrastructural upgrade is nearing its end, the work has not progressed at the initial intended pace. To ensure the most feasible and financially prudent approach, the government will utilize an investor finance model rather than direct state budget expenditure to kickstart the project. This development fulfills a key pledge made by President Moise during a press conference in May of last year. The original plan to construct a new international airport on the island of Tinadu has been revised. The new strategy focuses on significantly upgrading the existing Kardeddu airport and connecting it to the neighboring island of Tinadu via a bridge, thereby serving the entire Huvadu Atoll region. Opened in December 1993, Kardeddu Airport is historically significant as the first domestic airport in Huvadu Atoll. Currently operated by Villa Air, the airport is located just 3.7 kilometers from Tinadu.
President Dr. Mohammad Moise announces a significant expansion of Asanda, the National Health Insurance Scheme, to provide ambulance services for non-emergency situations beginning 1st April.
Detailed during a press briefing at the President's office, the policy follows extensive consultations with public health and government authorities to broaden vehicular medical transport beyond critical care. President Moise underscored that the administration rigorously evaluated the logistical and fiscal realities of the expansion. Addressing historical accessibility gaps, President Moise noted that the change responds to frequent public requests. Under the new guidelines, Asanda maintains its role in emergencies and the conveyance of the deceased, while newly financing transport for outpatient care for bedridden patients, wheelchair users, and individuals with disabilities, explicitly encompassing those with physical impairments, psychological conditions, autism, and Down syndrome. The policy further permits intra-facility transfers and coordinated transport to local jetties or airports during evacuations. This revision operates alongside an infrastructure initiative that deployed ambulances to 56 islands last month, with additional two-phase distributions and the procurement of advanced paramedic ambulances continuing this month. The government maintains that universal ambulance access remains a foundational objective of its tenure.
President Dr. Mohamed Moise announces that the government is working to submit a draft legislation to introduce recall votes for parliamentarians and local councillors during the current parliamentary session.
Speaking at the weekly press briefing, the president said the proposed mechanism would allow citizens to directly hold elected representatives accountable during their term. President Moise said technical discussions are underway to study recall systems used in established democracies with the aim of adapting suitable models to the Maldivian context. He stressed the need for a clear and robust legal framework before implementation, including defined thresholds and procedures. The president added that the system must ensure transparency, accessibility, and safeguards against misuse. The proposed recall mechanism forms part of a broader package of electoral and institutional reforms being pursued by the government. These include proposals to reserve parliamentary seats for youth, women, and persons with disabilities, the possible introduction of a preferential voting system for presidential elections, and measures to strengthen the independence of key state institutions. The composition of the Judicial Service Commission is also expected to undergo legislative review to enhance transparency and impartiality.
Minister of Construction, Housing and Infrastructure Dr. Abdullah Muttalib states that housing is not a political tool for the current administration but something that must be delivered for the sake of humanity.
He made the remarks while speaking at the groundbreaking ceremony and commencement of physical works for 1,190 housing units in Hulamale Phase 2 under the BML Affordable Housing Project officiated by President Dr. Mohamed Moise. In his address, the minister said the government is already making significant efforts to ensure that permanent housing is a basic security for every Maldivian citizen. He said first-time homebuyers using bank loans will soon be able to purchase their own housing at affordable prices, while efforts are underway to provide housing for low-income families under a lease-to-own model. The minister noted that families living in Male do not have adequate housing to live comfortably with their families. He said that such families will not be left out under the leadership of President Moise, adding that efforts are being made to provide housing to the needy under a special policy. He added administrative arrangements are already underway. The minister said he believed that different solutions should provide to different segments of the society, stressing that housing is a right for every citizen.
The Maldives government says it is working to minimize the economic impact of the ongoing Middle East conflict as shifting dynamics in global trade raise concerns over supply routes and rising prices.
The conflict, now continuing for over a month, has intensified with the involvement of Yemen's Houthi group, raising fears over potential disruptions to key maritime routes, including the Bab al-Mandab Strait and the Suez Canal, which are vital for trade between Europe and Asia. Authorities have warned that any disruptions to these routes, alongside pressures on the Strait of Hormuz, could have significant global implications. Officials said such developments are expected to affect the Maldives, particularly through rising global commodity prices. However, the government has assured that essential goods remain available, with measures in place to maintain supply stability. As part of its response, the government is seeking to diversify import sources by strengthening trade ties with East Asian markets. Efforts are underway to prioritize countries such as Malaysia, Vietnam, Thailand, and Indonesia. Minister of Economic Development and Trade, Mohammed Saeed, said the current situation presents an opportunity to expand commercial engagement with these markets. The minister also highlighted the role of the Maldives Free Trade Agreement with China in facilitating trade, noting that such agreements help ease barriers and support continuity in supply. While no similar agreement exists with India, officials said the country continues to prioritize exports to the Maldives. Discussions are ongoing to further strengthen trade relations between the two countries. The government added added that air cargo services from the Middle East remain operational and oil imports, which are primarily sourced through Oman, have not been disrupted despite tensions in the region. Authorities said they are continuing to strengthen international partnerships to ensure the steady availability of essential goods while preparing for potential escalation in global conditions.
The Bank of Maldives BML inaugurates construction on a 364-unit residential development in Hulumale, marking a significant expansion of the nation's housing infrastructure.
The ceremony was presided over by President Dr. Mohammad Moizu, who served as a guest of honor alongside a delegation including the Minister of Construction, Housing and Infrastructure Dr. Abdullah Muttalib, the BML chairperson Ahmad Ali Habib and the Chief Executive Officer Mohammad Sharif. The project, awarded to the domestic firm Amin Construction Private Limited, will feature 2 residential towers comprising 3-bedroom apartments of 900 square feet each. This endeavor is a central component of a mandate led by the BML Affordable Home Leasing Company, a subsidiary established by the bank to execute the Inclusive National Affordable Housing Initiative. In total, the subsidiary plans to construct 3,260 high-quality 3-bedroom units, with officials projecting completion by mid-2028. The broader housing portfolio is strategically distributed, with 300 units planned for Vilimale and 2,960 units allocated across Phase 1 and 3 of Hulumale, where practical work has already commenced. To execute this large-scale undertaking, the bank has partnered with a consortium including the China Machinery Engineering Group and the Beijing Urban Construction Group, alongside local firms FW Construction and Rashid Carpentry and Construction. Also in attendance were the leasing company's Managing Director Hassan Sham and Amin Construction representatives Muhammad Irfan, Ibrahim Imran Abdullah and Ibrahim Nihad.
The government is set to initiate trial runs for environmentally sustainable solar-powered ferries in the near future, according to Tariq Ibrahim, the Minister of Tourism and Environment.
Speaking at a ceremony inaugurating the Raja Transport Link in Lamu Atoll, Minister Tariq noted that while the national high-speed network continues to expand, the current fleet's reliance on modern vessels necessitates substantial fuel expenditures. Consequently, the government is working to engineer a system that maintains robust operations while drastically reducing fossil fuel consumption. To transition beyond conventional maritime transit, the ministry will import solar ferries without delay for regional trials, envisioning a permanent network for short-distance travel between neighboring islands. Specifications for the fleet emerged in 2025, detailing a vessel designated as the Apollo. Engineered for volatile conditions, the Apollo is equipped with 75 solar panels and certified for Sea State 5, navigating waves up to 4 meters. The vessel accommodates 75 passengers at 8 nautical miles per hour, powered by an advanced electric configuration of 2 50-kilowatt battery packs and dual 40-kilowatt inboard motors. An electric steering system will reduce maintenance, while a 25-kilowatt rooftop solar array continuously charges the battery systems during standard operations.
President Dr. Mohammad Moizu asserts the administration's proposal of fundamental consolidation of the nation's electoral calendar by aligning presidential and parliamentary contests is essential to curb unchecked legislative power and prevent partisan supermajorities.
Addressing supporters at the headquarters of the ruling People's National Congress, President Moizu declared that conducting both elections on a single day would dismantle the structural framework that currently enables a single party to secure a supermajority, urging the electorate to approach the upcoming Saturday polls with a unified national vision. The president argued that staggered contests undermine candidate parity, as those affiliated with an incumbent administration run with the advantage of being recognized as official government representatives. He cautioned that the country stands to suffer substantial detriment if leaders devoid of a national mindset achieve such entrenched dominance. To foster a representative legislature, President Muizu detailed a mechanism of concurrent voting. President Muizu maintained that such a balanced composition, including victorious and defeated factions, would effectively neutralize the risk of irresponsible partisan maneuvering. Aligning the votes, he noted, further ensures representatives are elected with the maximum participatory mandate of the citizenry.
That's it for now. Thank you for watching 168 Hours. Have a good day.